in this week, we are going to talk about how do you going to start your price setup with some of the methodology that we have in place. The first one that I would like to discuss about is the concept that I just mentioned to you in last week, the concept-based pricing compared with the value-based pricing. They also have the problem and the challenge in itself when you compare those two concepts together. With cost-based pricing, you will have a problem of price leakage. By the value-based pricing, you start to realize what will be the right actual price for you and how you're going to go with a little bit higher price than the competitor or a little bit lower price with some of the reasons that I just mentioned in week 1. Another thing that we're looking at when we're doing at a cost-based pricing, we see a lot of price erosion coming from the low margin sales because sometimes we focus so much on cost and we have an incorrect on cost collection. While in value-based pricing, you maintain the reference price because you refer that with exactly the price from competitor plus minus the added or the less benefit that you have for your product, and that you are more focusing on relevant cost as well. The third thing is the treated when all customers are the same. This is the old traditional way. You have a lot of aggregation costs from doing that. The new way of working, we're focusing a lot on segmentation. How do you going to track the cost of serve for each customer? And as you can see, we have been also mentioned about price discrimination. You don't have to sell product exactly at the same price to all the customers. Another thing that we're talking about is in cost-based pricing, sometimes you're not knowing an effect of pricing because you focusing on the product margin. But at the same time, when you do value-based pricing, you understand the price elasticity. What is the change in price compared to the change in quantity that you're going to get the maximum profits, and that's the real customer margin. I would like to give you an example of the price launching that we have been using in the market. The first one is when you want your sales to be penetrated in the market. That's what we call the price penetration. You can start with very low price to gain the market share. For an example, when Grab have been launching the product, they start to giving a coupon discount or the cash coupon, where basically making the price of themselves much more lower than that taxi, and that actually make Grab gain market share in transportation. Another price that people using is called optional pricing. In optional pricing is the price where you can have more options while you want to add the price. Thinking about you book the low cost airline like AirAsia, when you select the seat in AirAsia, if you want the seat with more leg room, you definitely have to add some money to get that. Another things that we talking a lot is called premium pricing. It's happen when you set the price such much more higher because you know that the value that you're going to contribute to your brand or the product is much more higher than competitor. For an example, you might know the bag band Louis Vuitton or even the limousines. They never going to the price competition. They never get the discount price. What they do every day is making sure that they stay in the premium position because they have the premium value. Another method is called skimming pricing, where you actually changing the price. You will see it a lot in electronics equipment. For an example, you have the TV where in January you sell at 500 baht, but because it's the fresh launch and the commercial is there, people have high ambition to buy that, and they having much more willingness to pay. When the times go by, the price is going down with the same products to 350, and that's happened a lot with the technology, and this is actually a good thing because then you have a true target customer, the tech savvy or the early adapter, and once the early adapter already bought the products, you can penetrate the same product to different segmentation, like in this case penetrate to the price sensitive market as well. Another one of the example that people are using is called bundle pricing. When the industry having a lot of bundle service, they also have a startup or innovation company come up with unbundle or when you are in unbundled service, they definitely gather a lot of products together and make it such bundle. Let's say for an example of buying a luggage, if you buy the big and small together, you might get a cheaper price, and that's actually the way for them to squeeze the money or squeeze the average revenue per user as much as possible as well. Another thing that we are looking at is the competition pricing, where you always making sure that you have the lowest price guarantee most of the time, and they have 2 or 3 more price competition in the market with the competitor with exactly the same quality, the same price. And the last one that people also aims to do is called value pricing, where you add a story and making sure that people feeling like increasing the willingness to pay for them, to making sure that you gain the price most of the time. For example, Starbucks coffee never do a discount on their coffee. They might do it as the campaign, but they not do it regularly. But what they do instead of making sure that their customer have a high willingness to pay is they create the value that the coffee bean that they are using coming from South Africa, and they also have the CSR project over there to help them. So when you're going to Starbucks and buy their coffee, you feel like you are giving the money back to South African area, and that's make you feel like the value of Starbucks or the willingness to pay that you have for that coffee is much more than coffee from other brands. So this is also the example of that. And they also have, when you're looking at the price settings, they have 3 effective components area. The one is the segmentation, as I just mentioned. The value added to segment, the segmentation, the price realization, what would the actual price, and then the reference price, which is the competitor price that you are looking at. Another thing is, once the time go by, you might want to increase the number of analysis that you have for your new products. Let's say the price elasticity, which is the change in quantity when you lower or higher than the price point that you set at the beginning, or looking at what would be the right relevance cost for you taking the product forward in long term. Another thing that I just mentioned is the customer margin, which is the cost to serve the customer and the total revenue per customer that you would like to get. Every year, a lot of companies having a KPI where they're looking at what would be the total revenue per customer and how do you going to straight it up or making the total revenue per customer getting higher by launching the new products or by changing the size of package, and while ordering to do a lot of stuff like bundle and unbundle. So that's also the way to do it. And I think this is the way is much more easier when it comes to digital world now, because the reference price, you don't have to go in the market or find yourself. They have a lot of websites that doing that. For an example, I just select one website where they do a price comparison between using Uber, Grab, and normal taxi for you. So in that case, if you can define the price index for your product and then going out in the market to that would be one of the ways to do it. The next chapter, we will continue to talk about pricing, but in more detail. Once you have your price set up, what would be the right way to test that if that price is relevant and this is the right price for you or not. Thank you.